So in this video, I'm going to be talking to you all about the spiritual meaning behind the summer solstice, which is around the 20th, 21st of June in the Northern Hemisphere countries. So summer solstice is an ancient celebration that we partake in, as in our family. And by the way, at the time I'm filming this video, it is over the summer solstice period. So this is why I felt very drawn to talking about it and how we celebrate it in our family. So if I just kind of go back to the beginning, so solstice, sol meaning sun, and stiltium meaning still or stop. So it's like the sun appears to have stopped in the sky at the point of over the summer solstice, and it is in fact what the sun is at its highest point in the sky, but closest to our planet. Which marks the solstice period, the summer solstice. So as I said, in the Northern Hemisphere countries, the summer solstice is in June, always in June, around 20th, 21st of June. And in the Southern Hemisphere countries, it's in December, around December the 21st. And as I said, you know, the ancients celebrated this time, you know, we're talking years ago, because they knew, they were so connected energetically to the land, and they knew that everything, and could feel this energy opening up, you know, and that the sun was opening up, and they saw the sun as a creator, you know, or you know, a portal of creative energy, as it were. So the Egyptians, so by the ancients I mean the Egyptians, the Mayans, the mystics, the Druids, you know, the Essenes as well. You know, they because they deeply understood the kind of more spiritual significance and energetic significance of this time, they would build structures and temples to honour this period over the solstice. And you'd often see these kind of dome-like structures with a hole in the top, and you can still see them in Ireland. I know and I'm sure all over the world, but I'm just saying Ireland because we've been there to one of them in Tara. And you can actually go inside the dome, and in the centre at the top there's this hole. And it was so amazing when you think that they, you know, thousands of years ago they could do this, and that they built this structure where they knew that at the very pinnacle of the solstice, the light would come through that hole. That was specifically for that time, about 10-15 minutes, I think you're talking about, every year, that this light would shine through, and they particularly pinpointed it exactly for that. And another example of this is in Egypt, where, you know, the Great Pyramid and the Great Sphinx, and over the solstice the Sphinx is actually crowned with the light of the sun. So that's quite incredible when you think about it, what they could achieve then, you know. So for these ancients, and there are many people today that mark and celebrate the solstice, for them it kind of means that this kind of wealth of intense energy that comes through with the sun, and the sun symbolises this. You know, it also symbolises the light of God within us, you know, and the light of God, or the God as a creator, or the life force energy, however you term that. But also, if you think about it on a personal level, it also signifies our reconnection to the light, and our reconnection to our inner light, you know, because at one point we've all had a disconnection from spirit in you know, we're talking about ancient past lives through to this day and age as well. We've all suffered a disconnection from spirit, and we carry that within us. So the solstice is a time to reconnect to the light and to the light within us. So it's a really auspicious time. You know, so it's symbolizing awakening, our personal journey towards enlightenment, ascension, all those things. So one thing we need to be aware of is all this planetary alignment that goes on. I'm talking, you know, the equinoxes. So you have the two solstices, summer and winter, and then between those times you have the equinoxes, and then you have altogether 8 significant times during the year. But you also have eclipses, lunar and solar. So and you know, all these things, all this planetary alignment will have an effect on us energetically, and it will feel differently, and it will drive us, or it will make us feel like we want to do different things in a way. Excuse me. So for example, the winter solstice is more about, and that period of time we do feel like that, doing that naturally, and this is because of the energy around that time. You know, it's more a time of pausing from life and introspection and deep contemplation, and a brilliant time for making plans, which ties in with the New Year's resolution, because if you think the winter solstice is the 21st of December, it's not long after that we make our New Year's resolutions, and this is where it comes from. This is where we're driven to do that. You know, we contemplate over what we've achieved over the year, or over the months coming up to that point. And then we think about how we can move forwards, and, you know, our desires and what we'd like to co-create. So, you know, it all kind of fits together. Okay, so I was also thinking about how we could, during these times of the solstice and this planetary alignment, how we could reconnect, how could we actually do that energetically? Because I often get asked that question. So I was really thinking about it. I think that a good thing is to be outside, you know, and whatever you feel like you feel drawn to doing, do it, you know, especially over that period. And I don't feel it has to be at the exact pinnacle of the, you know, when the sun is at its highest point, because I think this time around 2007 on June 21st, the solstice, its pinnacle was about 5:30 to 6 a.m. in the morning, you know, in England. So, you know, it's just obviously not always possible for people to be outside, or not easy. But, you know, any time over the 20th, 21st, I feel you're still benefiting, and probably ongoing and leading up to that as well. The energies are pretty intense. There's a build up, so you're still going to benefit. You can still connect, and you can still connect anyway. You can connect the energy at any point of time, but it's really good to be doing it over these periods. You know, and what I mean by connecting is, you know, you go out barefoot possibly. I always feel very grounded when I'm barefoot. You know, you pay attention to nature and what's around you. You know, just even on that, you're connecting at some level. You know, I always think as well that you just think about what the solstice represents. So it's this light, it's its warmth, it's this intense energy, it's this abundance, it's the good health, it's the fertility, it's the fruition. So if you bring in all these feelings and feel them as though they're actually happening for you, you know, you are connecting and being grateful for that as well. Very important to be grateful is a very good way to connect. You can also call in your angels and guides and ancestry, like spirit guides, deceased loved ones, you know, to kind of amplify that experience as well. And just like with our family, with our boys, we were celebrating a couple of days ago, and we were just physically opening up our posture and visualizing our heart opening to the energies, you know, the sun's energies that were coming down, and the rays, and just feel them coming in and absorbing into your body, into every cell and atom of your body. And you could just do kind of a light meditation around it. Another thing you can do is perform a sacred ceremony, which is what I actually did yesterday with my group. I did a sacred circle of fire, which is a specific ritual that can be done at any time. It's a very purifying and empowering and deeply shifting ritual or ceremony. But I thought it was very apt, you know, with the fire, and it's very symbolic, and it really was appropriate, felt very appropriate for the summer solstice. And, you know, you honour the 4 directions, you know, north, south, east, west, and the elements, you know, earth, air, ether and water, sorry. And, you know, I had my crystals out, and I had the music, the shamanic drums, and the fire. and it was just lovely. You know, so I did actually perform a specific ritual. Another thing is you could have a fire ceremony, actually thinking about the fire. You could write little notes about what you've achieved over the year, or what you'd like to achieve for the upcoming time, and you know, just write them down. We had little heart-shaped post-it notes, and I had these metallic pens, and we all wrote things down, and then we popped them in the fire, and it was really symbolic. You really, you know, you felt like the fire was, you know, fire element is all that masculine aspect, so it's all drive and passion. So you really felt passionate. I felt very connected to my desires in a way when I was watching them burn. So, you know, that's another thing you can do. But as I said, I think just being outside and connecting, walking barefoot, I love doing that. And unfortunately we had amazing weather this time around, so we were able to be out until about 10 o'clock last night. So it was great. But anyway, I just thought I'd share my thoughts with you on the summer solstice, and how, you know, how I would with my family celebrate, maybe give you some ideas and make you feel drawn to doing that as well. Oh yes, and not forgetting the lovely, we had raspberry lemonade and lemon, you know, lemonade, real lemonade, and you know, just like you know, drinks and food as well is a lovely way to do that. But I'll definitely say if you can have some sort of fire, that really feels, if it's possible for you, that kind of really feels very nurturing and very honouring of the whole time, and it's quite symbolic as well. I suppose it's like the sun, really, if you think of it like that. Anyway, lovely to connect with you. Bye.